Welcome everyone. We're just going to go over today how to use the website a little bit. I'm going to cover a lot of different things. I have a whole to-do list of things to cover. And this will just be kind of an introduction to everything. I will post this video to YouTube and give some stamps of different things I'm covering if you need to watch it again. You don't have to use the computer or the website, but it can be a lot quicker. Of course, there's a little bit of a learning curve like there is with anything. But I find, it's good to at least know the tools so you can decide if you want to use it. Sorry, just muting everyone. Okay, and with that, we're going to get started. So the first thing I wanted to show you, so we're obviously talking about the website today, is how to change some of the settings on the website to make it a little bit more user-friendly. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. It's pretty much going to be shared for the majority of this presentation. So when so when you go to iNaturalist, this is pretty much the home page. Hopefully you've been on here before. Oops. You can click around, see updates, all this stuff. The first place we're going to go is to the Shutterbee project. So if your photos automatically get added to the Shutterbee project, but you're not actually, sorry, I just want to make sure if someone comes about that. Okay, so one of the big things is you want to make sure if you want to see the Shutterbee project. So the easiest way to do that is just go to the search bar and just type in Shutterbee, and it should come up here. You can press about. And then if you're not in, yours will look a little bit different because I'm like an editor, but you'll have a little button here that says join project if you want to. And this is a fun way just to see what other people are posting. You can see the recent observations, you can see all the species people have found, all that good stuff. So, you can have, there's the little leaderboards here if you want to get a little competitive. I will say I'm at the top of the leaderboard for identifications. Nobody's ever catching me, but if you want to try, you can. So this is the project. And yeah, it's just a good way to kind of check in and things, see what people are posting. I like to go through sometimes, and if someone posts a cool photo, I just will say like neat or whatever, or like get excited when a new species comes out. Okay, so that's based on Shutterbee. The next thing I want to cover, that's pretty basic, hopefully you all can figure that out, is some settings that will just make iNaturalist a little bit more friendly. So to get to your settings, you click on your profile picture and you'll see all these things here. Oops, you press account settings. I don't know what just happened there. Sorry, can everyone see my mouse? Should I make it bigger? On settings, the two big settings I wanted to show you first are notifications. So that's right over here. And when you go to notifications, so essentially you'll get notifications up here for all different types of things. But if you get a notification for every time someone confirms one of your IDs, it can get really bogged down. So I like to turn this one off. And this way I only get notifications if someone disagrees with me, which means they think it's something entirely different, or if they get it to a lower classification. So for example, if I just say bumblebee, and then someone else comes in and says it's a brown belted bumblebee, then I'll still get a notification for that. So that way, I can learn if I've made mistakes or, try to see what people ID it further. But if I ID something to Halictus and someone else agrees it's Halictus, I don't get those identifications. So it just kind of clogs it up, because if you get so many notifications, then it just it's not really meaningful anymore. Okay, so that's right here under notifications, and then confirming IDs. The next thing I wanted to show you is under, oh shoot, what is it? I think it's under account. It's not under account, where is it? It's under content and display, sorry about that. And for content and displays, the thing I recommend changing is under names and then display. There's a bunch of different options. I like to have the scientific name first and then the common name. And this is because, for certain things like birds, there's like agreed upon common names. So pretty much the common names and scientific names are interchangeable. You'll see a lot of scientists that, have PhDs and have been studying birds for 20 years, and they'll be using the common names. With bees, it's not like that. A lot of the bees don't have common names. The common names are confusing, all that stuff. So what I like to do here is just change this from the default, which is common name here, to scientific name and then the common name. The common name will still be listed. It will just be underneath and a little bit smaller. So this gets your eye used to seeing the scientific name. And then, but with all of iNaturalist, I can search at any time. I can search the common name or the scientific name, and both will come up. So this is something you can try around with, and if you just don't like it, you can switch it back. But once again, that's under settings, content and displays, and then change it to the scientific name followed by the common name. And if you make a change, which I just changed, make sure to press save settings, otherwise it won't save. So I'm changing it back, and I will save settings. And you'll see it just saved. Oh my gosh, 9:13 a.m. Okay, something happened to my time. So also people have told me that they have problems with their time sometimes. That's a common thing. So if stuff ever has the wrong time, don't worry about it. Okay, so that's the basic settings thing. Now I'm gonna go over how to upload photos and get them off your phone. Okay, so the next thing is the big thing is a lot of you are using your phone, so you need to figure out how to get your photos from your phone and onto your computer. So there's two main, okay, we're gonna start with, so pretty much how your phone is set up, and I'm gonna talk about it this way. If you have different settings, you're kind of gonna have to figure out on your own. But most people's phone, it's linked to some type of an account, and those photos automatically get sent to the cloud. So if you have an iPhone, your photos automatically get sent to your iCloud. If you have an Android, your photos automatically get sent to Google Photos. Okay, we're gonna start with Google Photos because it's a little bit simpler, and then I'll talk about iCloud, which is slightly more complicated, and I'll talk about why. Okay, so to get your photos off your phone, the easiest way to do it is, instead of having to like plug in your phone or something like that, is to go to your Google Photos or go to your iCloud. I will say the order I like to do this is usually I go out and do my survey, and I come back inside where it's cool. I'll probably do a quick sort of the photos on my phone first, just delete all the out of focus photos, and kind of, this is a good time if you need to go into the live or motion photo to pick a new frame. I find often I don't need to, but occasionally I will. So I do that mostly on my phone. You can, sort some stuff out later, but it's easier just on your phone just to swipe through everything and delete it if something's like really bad. Okay, we're gonna do Google Photos first because it's a little simpler. So essentially, I already have it. Okay. I thought it was, okay, it's photos.google.com, not google.photos. Okay, so this is the survey I did today. This is my Google Photos. This is pretty much what everyone who has an Android will look like. It automatically syncs from your phone. It usually takes a little bit, like 10 minutes or something, so FYI. And what's really nice about this, and you'll see a similar feature with iCloud, is you can just like click this check mark by the day, and it will select all the photos from that day. You can see this is a survey. And then I just go down, I go to this more options, and then I just download them, and they'll download onto my computer. So yeah, you can just do that. And then if you have, ones that were not bees, for example, from like some other photos you took that day, you can just unclick them and then go here and download them. And that's pretty much it.
So Nina, are they downloading automatically to iNaturalist, or
no,
they
they're gonna download to your desktop. I'm gonna go over this.
Okay.
Yeah, they download to your desktop. Okay, for iPhoto, I can't really show you the iCloud because I don't have one set up, but the photos download into this HEIC format. So what you'll have to do is this is kind of annoying, but you'll have to download the photos. They'll download onto your computer. Then you would want to go to this website, which I'll send out to you. And then you'll have to go and you'll have to upload your photos to this website and then re-download them, and that will change the format from this HEIC data format, which is what iPhones use, into like JPEG, which then iNaturalist can read. You can also change it to PNG or whatever like that. But so this will be an extra step you'll have to do. You'll have to download. Yeah. Betsy asked about from iPhone to PC. I'm pretty sure what will happen there is you'll download from your iCloud just because you go do it in your browser. I don't know what it's going to change it to when you download from iPhone to PC. The good thing or bad thing or whatever is if you try to upload this HEIC format to iNaturalist, it will tell you it can't support it. So then you'll know that you'll have to run it through a conversion thing like this one here. But essentially you'll download the photos, they'll just download onto your desktop. Like for example, these are ones I downloaded earlier today. These are all the photos. You'll run them through this conversion if you need to, and then they'll be back on your computer wherever they are. So that's, yeah, that's kind of, you're gonna have to, like, this is something I can't walk everyone through the exact system, but you should have either Google Photos or your iCloud, and those should be where your photos automatically get synced from your phone to. Remember, if you want to take some photos and check it out, it's going to take a few minutes to do. But that's just the general process of getting them off your computer or off your phone and onto your computer. Does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have any questions?
Nina?
Yes.
How about from Android onto an iMac? Do you know, does that work well?
Yeah, so that's what I do. I actually have an iMac here and it downloads them perfectly fine. So it doesn't matter what system you're doing. It should download. I mean, your Android is essentially what I have is the Google Photos and then it downloads.
Okay, good.
Okay, so converts them on your computer. I think Gerald, I think it makes a copy of them. I'm not quite sure. But you know, if they're on the cloud or whatever and you download them, they're still on the cloud. So if something gets screwed up, you can always re-download them again. But yeah, essentially you upload them to this converter and then re-download them. You can also, this converter, this is just a free one. There's a bunch of them. You can also kind of get this desktop version here if you wanted to, and then it does it kind of all without the internet. This is unfortunately a little step which I didn't realize was a thing because I never had to deal with it until I was talking to someone else.
I wasn't worried about losing the photos. I just wanted to know if you're gonna have extra copies of everything then, or replace them.
Yeah, you might have extra copies, but in general, once you get them uploaded to iNaturalist, I like to wait a day or two just in case anything screwy happens, and then I often delete them because otherwise my phone, my storage is just going to be taken over with photos of bees.
Yeah.
And you can always re-download them from iNaturalist if you need to. You'll lose a little image quality, but it's something.
Nina, if you're working with an Android and will it have the date you download or the date that you took the pictures?
Yes, so it should save all that information, but if it doesn't, I will help you. I'm going to show you all how to use the computer.
Great.
And see that it really quickly, you can really easily add in that information. Okay, I don't want to keep you all here all day, so I'm going to show you the upload process, and then I can also take questions at the end. Okay. So you're on iNaturalist. You can press upload or add observations. They're the exact same thing. So I'm just going to press add observations here. And then you just choose files. So this would be those files that you have that you've saved and converted if need be. So you would just select the photos and select them all here. And then you would press open. I'm not going to press open right now because it's going to take a little while to load, especially when I'm recording and running a Zoom right now. But in general, that's what you would do is press open. So I just selected all the photos and pressed open. I actually already uploaded them. So I'm going to go to this tab here. So these were all the photos that I just showed you. I just uploaded them earlier before I was doing this. Okay, so here is all the photos. And this is where the website goes really, really quickly. So The big thing to see is on the left here, it says editing one observation. I can then press the select all button here. And now it says editing 37 observations because right now, every photo is by itself. But what I like to do first, just to, get it out of the way, is if the date was wrong, I could like click here and change all the dates at once if something happened, if data got lost. If I needed to edit the location, I could edit it here. I like to put my stuff as obscured, so I can change that right now. And you can see it just changed this little eye from like a point to an obscured eye. But the big thing is I can add the first half of the note section to or the first 2/3 of the note section to all of them at once. So for all of them, I'm going to type SBEE 20, and then I'm going to leave it blank because I can't write down the species for all of them at once. But it's already done for all of them. So now what I need to do is I need to pair together ones that are, alike. So, you can see that this photo here and this photo here, they're the same bee. So to do that, and I have the hands here, which makes it really easy, is you take one photo and you use your mouse and you drag it onto the next one. And you can now see it says 1 of 2 here, and there's arrows on either side indicating that there's 2 photos. If I make a mistake, I can always take one and drag it back, and it, separates it out. But I'm going to drag it together. I just kind of go between my hands, drag these 2 together. This one's a single one, etc. There's one of these. Let's see if I can find it. This one, I caught a second bee in the act. I didn't mean to take this photo, or I wasn't aiming for this bee, but it happened to be there. So I want to include it. This would also be an instance if you have 2 bees in one shot that, they're a little more on top of each other than this one. And what I can do with this one is it's clicked, and I can press this duplicate button right here. So it just made a second copy of it. I'm just going to move one of the copies over here just so I don't double combine. Just kind of keep that one separate. But I was able to duplicate a photo there, which is really helpful if you have, 2 bees in one shot. And then once again, I drag here. You can see there's 2 photos here and 1 photo here. If I drag like quickly, it will only drag 1 photo at a time. But if I want to drag the 2 photos into one, I just have to like hold a little bit longer, and then I can move over. Okay, is this making sense to people? You just drag between the hands, essentially.
You say that again about holding a little longer. Why do you hold longer?
If I want to move, see how this is 3 photos here? If I just do a quick drag, it's just going to move 1 photo. But if I want to drag like the whole set of photos, I just have to hold on to it for like a second longer, and then it will allow me to completely drag the like 2 and 2 together. Otherwise, it just always moves like 1 over at a time.
Great, thank you.
I can't.
Okay, so you were talking about having 2 bees in 1 photo.
Yeah.
And would I want to send you 2 photos then, because there are, so that, or do you want both bees in 1 photo and just 1 photo sent?
No, I would. So I duplicated this 1 photo because that's the only photo there's 2 bees in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in the note section here, I could write, the flying photo, the flying bee up here. And on this one, I could say the other photo, But for each bee needs its own observation.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about. So if I take, which I have already, I had a picture where there were 2 bees. I should have sent 2 photos.
Yeah, you could have, if you wanted to, you could have uploaded the same photos twice and then just indicated which bee you wanted to see.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so I'm going to continue to drag just like before. And then you can see I have all these hands in between. And what I actually like to do, because I'm done, I've dragged everything together, I think, is I'll drag all the hands together just because it makes it quicker. You can also, I can go up here, you can always click an observation and delete it. But then I have to do it like one at a time. So if I drag all the hands together, or a lot of them together, I'll just drag this forward because it's easier. Then I can click and delete all 4 hands at once. So once again, I just drag the hands together. This is why I recommend taking it. Also, it's just like a, fleshy colored, so it's pretty easy to see them. And then I can delete all of them at once. Okay, it looks like I have one more here. Oops, there's my hand. Okay, so I have a few more things to do. Because if you can see, there's no species name in here. And it takes a really long time for stuff to get into the project if you don't identify it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to select all here again. And I'm going to type in B. And all of them are ID to Bs. If you know your Bs better and want to ID them to something lower, you can click on a observation. Here, let me look actually another one. You can click on an observation and I can look through the photos if I want to, just to get a better idea of what it is. I'm like, okay, now I get a chance to see it, and I'm gonna change this now to this one. So you can, I can click on these if you're able to ID it, if you want to ID it, and then I can just change the identification. And I will say when you click on an observation, I can type in here or I can type in here, either one. It does the exact same thing. I do like to label everything as B first, just that way I don't make a mistake. I mean, there's like 11 observations here, but sometimes if you have like 20, it's really easy to miss stuff. And it doesn't give you any warnings or anything if you have things off. So I like to give everything the B, and then at least it will make it into the project. Even if I knew it went like farther, at least I, know what it is. Okay, so for this one, this is like the one oh, sorry, let me skip that for now. So also we're hoping to get the flower information. So if you know that as well, so I can just click this and see this flower. Another reason I like using the website is because I can't spell anything. I don't know what anything is called. So I can, look stuff up and then just like copy and paste. So this is a Coreopsis. I don't know what kind it is though. So I'm just gonna like Google Coreopsis. And it looks like, I know it's this plains one, but I don't know, I didn't know the species name or whatever, but it looks like it's this Coreopsis tinctora or whatever. So I can just copy and paste stuff, which I like. This one I know, this one's Echinacea, Echinacea, but I can't spell anything. So this is why I use this. This one I know is what, prairie coneflower. You don't need to do, you can do common name, species name, whatever, or scientific name, whatever. But I like to take extra time and, do the species, the scientific name if I can. But it's this way, I just copy and paste. It's less, less error if you just don't type anything. So that's that one. Oh, it looks like these got a little bit messed up. Sorry. So this one, something happened, I think, when I duplicated it. So let me make sure I have it in. So yeah, you can just go, so let's say I didn't know this one. This one I know is like a mountain mint. So, it just makes it really quick because you can just, everyone can type faster. Hopefully you can type faster than you can, do this on your phone. And, the computer doesn't autocorrect, whereas that's sometimes a problem on your phone. But yeah, that's kind of it. And then when you're done, you just press the submit observations. I'm not going to submit these now because I've already submitted them. But yeah, that kind of just shows you the process of it is, dragging them together, pressing this select all to change everything at once. And then, you can add all the species in at once. And then when you're putting in the plants or doing the species, you can always click on the photos to get a chance to look at it with more detail. Does that make sense? Does anyone have questions? If you do, please put them in the chat or just speak up and I can answer them. Okay, when deleting the hands, you can also right click each command or command click. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if you can, it looks like you can't like do that with this. You can't like command click to or right click to click all of them. And I recommend not deleting the hands before you upload, because then it's a lot harder to sort, because then you lose the whole purpose of, you know, taking photos of the hands. At what point do you enlarge the images? You don't need to enlarge the images. So when I go to, here, let me make a new tab with, because in case anyone has questions about this. When I'm IDing photos, I have the ability to enlarge the photo. So you don't really need to deal with enlarging the photos. As we ID, we can do it. Just to show you what it looks like when you do identifications. So when I click on a photo, I'm given this little magnifying glass, and I can click on photos and ID them. So within iNaturalist, so you don't need to worry about enlarging the photo or even cropping it. Try to crop it maybe if the bee is like impossible to find, just so to help people find it, or you can just write a note about where it is, but you don't need to deal with enlarging the photo. We can always do that, you know, within iNaturalist.
So if I want to write a note to tell you where the bee is, where do I put that in the notes section after the SB?
Yeah, so if you put after the flower, if you put another comma, you can put you can write kind of whatever you want.
Okay.
But yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be nice if you could put an extra comma, just it will help us separate stuff out later. So in
Okay.
this case, with this one, I can put another comma and then put like bee on flower. Whereas for this one, which had that that bee flying by, if you put another comma, it will help us sort everything out later. Okay. Does anyone else have questions about the upload process, kind of any of it? I know I covered a lot of information kind of quickly, but hopefully this will you know, introduce it to you, and you'll really just have to figure it out by yourself. Once again, if you find this doesn't work for you, or it's more challenging than using your phone, which you're used to, just use your phone. The whole point of this is to, you know, show you the tools, and then it's your decision if you want to use them or not.
Okay.
Okay. There's one more thing I wanted to show you, which is somewhat of a hybrid. Or this is just a nice tool in general to use, but it could be a hybrid if you don't want to deal with getting your photos from onto your computer. Yeah, someone asked if you leave blank after the second comma. Yeah, if you don't know what the flower is, just leave it blank. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is batch edit. So we have a video about this. Yeah, so sorry, Gerald, yeah, generally you don't need to edit the live photo. The only time, the live or motion, it does a really good job of picking the best one. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, there must be a better frame in here. And then I go through it and there's never a better frame. Or there's usually not a better frame. The whole point of having live or motion on is it chooses a good frame for you. Whereas if you don't have it on, you'll get a lot of out of focus photos. So it does a pretty good job of finding one where the bee is in focus. The only time I'll go into the live is if like every photo of the bee that it chooses looks bad, and then I'll go hunting around sometimes for a slightly better shot if there is one. But the default isn't to go through the live, it's just to make sure that the live is on. Okay, the last thing I wanted to show you is batch edit. And so how you get to batch edit, this would be observations you've already uploaded. If there's a problem with them or something like that, it can be quicker to edit all of them at once. The other time you could maybe use it is if you wanted to upload the photos from your phone onto iNaturalist, but you didn't want to deal with putting in the SBE 20, whatever, only if you do this right away, please don't let this like languish. You could upload the photos on your phone and then go to the computer and do some of the typing stuff. And to do that, you go to your observations. And then, sorry, I need to click this. Oh gosh, how do you get to this? Ah, I forgot. Oh, sorry. You don't go to your observations. I lied. You go into your settings or your, your profile picture, and then you go to edit observations. And it will hopefully not take this long to edit. Okay. And then there's this button that says batch edit. So you can click batch edit, and then you can select all the photos you want to. And it's nice because there's this little button that says today. So if you wanted to edit all the photos from that day, or if you did it on the same day, I can click today, or if I didn't want to do today, I could, hand click observations that you wanted to, but I'm just going to go to today. And then you can go to edit selected. And what this will allow you to do is edit all of them at once. It won't let you edit the note section at once, but it kind of makes the interface easier. So what you can do is you can go to batch operations here, and say you didn't put the species in or something. I could type in bee if it like glitched on your phone or something like that. Why is it not? I think you have to press return. Oh my gosh. You could click bees, and then you could press this apply button. Let me just make sure this doesn't save. Okay. You can press apply, and you can see it changed everything to bees. So if you didn't have, if you didn't put the tag in, you could do that all at once. You could change the time and the date. And then if you click more fields here, you could change the geo-privacy and things like that. If you want to change the notes section, which is called the descriptions here, you can't do it for all of them at once, but this is kind of an easier interface. You can click this little description button and then type in whatever you wanted here. So this is kind of easier than going into each individual observation, pressing the edit button and then doing it. Is you could, change this here. Say this is the wrong flower. I know it's supposed to actually be like flower 2 or whatever. I could go and change each individual observation. And then when you're done, you just press save all here. Okay, so once again, just how to get here. It's pretty intuitive once you get to this, once you find where batch edit is. And we do have a video that specifically goes over this. I'll make sure to send out. But you just go to here and then edit observations. Oh my gosh, because my mouse is so big, I keep on misclicking. You go to edit observations, batch edit, select all the ones you wanted, and then press edit selected, and then click this batch operation things. And then you have more fields down here as well. So that's batch edit. You can use it as it see fit. If you want to upload photos from your phone and then add some stuff here, or you realize you made a mistake and want to go through and change a bunch at once, this could be the quickest way to do it, depending. Okay. That is kind of all I had for you. Once again, I know I covered a lot of information, but I'll send out some links as well. Let's see. After I've loaded and identified everything as bees, how do we agree to our corrected bee identifications? This last time I uploaded photos, I seen issue where several photos are still listed as an ID of Anthophilia. So if other people haven't ID'd them yet, then it's going to be whatever the initial ID is. If there's a disagreement, it goes. So if one person says Serotina and one person says Lasioglossum, it goes to the most common ID to both of them. It brings it back up to B. If two people say Serotina and one person says Lasioglossum, it starts to move towards Serotina. So if your IDs still say Anthophilia, even after people have ID'd, it's probably because there's a disagreement. That being said, if you don't know what type of bee it is, and then someone else IDs it, and then you're like, oh yeah, sure it is, it's that. If you don't actually know that's the ID, then it doesn't really do us any service if you just blindly agree with all the IDs that everyone else posted. Once you post your photo, you don't need to do any identifications if you don't want to. We got a question, can I default my GPS coordinates for all observations? Yeah, so in that page, there's a thing where you can do your address for all of them. So going back to the add observations, I could select all, and then you could do edit multiple locations, and you could either type in your address or something like that. But if you're using a phone and the observations are not geotagging, it probably means you either didn't allow your camera or didn't allow iNaturalist to see your location. So that's a settings thing that you'll have to change in either your camera app or iNaturalist app, because it should be the default. If you don't want that to be the default, then you'll have to put in the location, using the website. But pretty much I would just type in the address here, and then I could just press update observations. And it doesn't need to be perfectly, right, pinpoint. You can see some of these are coming up in different parts of my yard, but we don't need it to that degree as long as it's in, the general vicinity. Well, I covered a ton of information. I'll try to send this recording out to you. It might not be till Monday. We'll see. I'll try to get it done. But hopefully this was useful. We do have some videos that kind of go over the basics of this on the website. There's one for batch edit, and there's one for how to use the desktop, which does go over some of the basic things of dragging and dropping and selecting all. So you can check those out in the meantime. But otherwise, thank you all for coming. Hopefully this was informative. Hopefully this saved you some time. If you ever have questions about this, feel free to email me or Nicole or the undergrad that reaches out to you occasionally and will say you're doing a great job or try this, which would be Colby, Cheyenne, Naomi, Elsbeth, Haley, or Kyle. So you can also email them if you have questions, or just email Nicole or I, and we're always happy to answer your questions. If you just tell us you're having questions, having a problem.
Efforts.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone.